Sounds good. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Gema Estrella. On my daily routine, I'm the Director of Facilities and Construction for the LA County Office of Education. But today, I want to welcome you to California's Coalition for Adequate School Housing monthly meeting. Thank you for joining us. Today is July the 22nd of 2026. And we want to welcome, first of all, the first-time attendees and our new members. Every month we are reaching new audiences and we welcome you. We also welcome everyone that joins us every single month and that have been with us through the thick and thin of school facilities. So for those first-time attendees, we would like you to introduce yourselves using the chat box. We want to get to know you. I also want everyone to know that attendees have been muted, and we ask you to utilize the chat box for questions for any of those inquiries that you may have in mind. And please make sure that you are messaging all panelists and attendees by using the Dropbox. We want to make sure that your questions and your voice is heard. So please do that for us. And as a reminder, we're only going to spend about an hour together, but we want to make sure that you refrain from marketing in the chat box. This is about focusing on our school facilities for today. And with that, if we could go to the next slide. We have an agenda, packed with information, so we're going to get right into it. And hopefully we'll be done before or right around 10:15. So thank you for joining us. So the first item on the agenda has to do with the call for nominations. So as you know, CASH is constantly welcoming your view, your perspectives. In this particular moment, we are accepting nominations for the specifically two public sector spots, and that is individuals employed by a public agency. So this is a position to be on the board of directors. That means that you would be joining me. I am a board member currently. As you probably notice, is that Tom Pace wasn't able to make it today, but you have me for today. So you would be joining as part of this committee, Tom and I and Brooke and several of our other board members. So if you are interested, and I would encourage everyone that qualifies for this particular spot to submit your nominations by Friday, August 14. So that gives you a week to think about it, a week to fill out the application, the other week to push the button and say, I'm interested and I want to make a difference in the state of California. So please join us. Next slide. We continue to be very successful in our networking mixers, and we thank you for joining us. We are pleased today to announce our spring networking mixers. We hope that all of you could join us. When we are there in person, these opportunities allow us to network with our fellow industry leaders to ensure that we get to know those individuals that are part of the CASH organization, and then maybe consider joining. So please join us. These are three particular events that will be happening during the next few months. So on August 11th, we're going to be in the Fresno area. On September 3rd, we're going to be in Sacramento. And on September 24th, we're going to be in Riverside. These locations are strategically placed to give all of us an opportunity to get to know each other and to have an opportunity really to talk with those individuals that are a part of CASH. Maybe, when you're pursuing a dialogue with a CASH board member, that it gives us that informal opportunity. So please join us. If we go to the next slide, we also have a web shop coming up. These are opportunities for development, professional development. So on Thursday, August the 20th, Cash is hosting a web shop to provide an overview of changes to developer and community use fees. Um, this is on August 20th, and you could register specifically on the cashnet.org website. I do believe that we are all part of this big puzzle in the state of California, and that knowledge is power. So I encourage you to participate, register, and ask questions, learn about the new changes, and um, join us. We could go to the next slide. Thank you. So, as you know, the Cash organization has two big events, one in February, one in October. So the next one coming up is the Cash Fall Conference. And by popular demand, we are coming back to the Hyatt Regency in Irvine. Our event will be on October 8th and 9th. And let's not forget that we do have a very popular pre-conference workshop that is to kick off the conference. So the pre-conference is on October the 7th. So that's the Wednesday. And then the conference is Thursday, Friday. Online registration is available on the Cash website. But I do want to encourage, everyone to consider it. One reason why I particularly have enjoyed the fall conference is that it allows, in my particular case, because I'm in Los Angeles, it allows staff to also participate and to join us in a different setting than the Sacramento location. So I encourage everyone to register and participate. We will have a variety of speakers, a variety of activities, and wonderful networking activities. We also have our committee meetings typically during the fall conference. So please, please join us. And if we could go to the next slide. I know that everyone's been, waiting for this particular part of our meeting. It is definitely an area that is always informative, always exciting to hear from our agency entities and from our colleagues. So today we do have the Department of Education that will be providing an update. And first and foremost, we'll have John Gordon with CDE that is joining us to give us an update of what's happening around the state. So please join us, John.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Um, I have one probably major update here. As you may know, under Proposition 2, there's among several things that are in there is a program that the Department of Education is developing called Supporting Priority Schools. It's very similar to our federal program. We got a federal grant a few years ago supporting America's schools infrastructure, also known as SASE, in which we've identified high need districts based on criteria and primarily, small school districts. And we're going around the state and helping them, with their maintenance and doing facility walkthroughs and trying to support them in their facility needs. And so that idea was so successful that when AB 247, when Prop 2 came into place, they came up with another program that would also support the small school district program that the Office of Public School Construction is also developing. So we've had to go through our own regulatory process to develop this program, which we anticipate the regs to be approved by January. But an update that I recently found out is that we're developing a request for proposals. And so let me back up a little bit. Part of this program that we're doing with SASE and with the Priority Schools program that we contract with experts. In our case with SASE, we have a contract with Fresno County Office of Education as well as Nevada. And so they're actually going out, visiting the school sites, engaging with the school districts and helping them with their facility needs, providing technical assistance, walking their school sites, and all of that. And so for the priority school program, actually, we will be going out and doing a request for proposal and seeking folks out there in the facilities world to partner up with the Department of Education on this priority school program. And so we have, in concept, it approved internally through the Department of Education. And so we are tentatively going to be posting the request for proposal on October 21st. So I'll probably be mentioning this next month as well. And then there's a period in which we have to provide, intent, and then anyone that has questions, those are due in November, and then we're hoping to have proposals submitted by firms and companies by the beginning of January, hoping to award a contract by March, and then if everything works out, then have a contractor on board by July to help with our priority schools program. And so what that contractor would do would be, walking school sites, providing technical assistance. We're hoping to have the expertise to really provide a myriad of services that would help with those Prop 2 facility master plan requirements. And so it's a little more expanded than maybe what we have with what we're currently doing with SASE. So we're hoping to have some folks on board to support that. For the priority schools, in terms of school districts, they would apply to be in the program, and then there's a whole point system, and CDE would select who are those districts, LEAs that would be a part of this. But the big piece is getting a contractor on board, and we are moving forward with that. So just here to say, stay tuned. My contact, and I'll put it in the comments, my contact for this contract is Courtney MacArthur, who's focusing on the priority school program. And I'll send her email in the chat. And then once we get a link, and I should have a link with more information on our website related specifically to the RFP, which we should have next month, we'll be able to send that as well. So that's the long and short of it. I know a lot of folks are getting ready to go back, back to school, and we're getting a lot of last minute projects, and we're trying to work those through as best as we can. So if you have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out to me directly to make sure that we can try to meet those occupancy deadlines. I know sometimes they happen, and you can't always forecast that. We're trying to move those as quick as we can. So I got, Hema. Thank you. I don't know if there's any questions.
Yeah, let's give an opportunity in case there is a question in the chat, just to take a quick pause and see if our cash support team sees anything that is specifically to John. And probably not. So thank you so much, John. We appreciate the work that you and CD does every day on behalf of us and our students. So thank you so much. And we'll continue to be here. And, fingers crossed we get more applications that's, coming your way. And when that technical expert comes in, that we could have things lined up to get it moving along. So thank you for being here today. All right, so next we welcome our Division of State Architect, and we want to give the microphone to Miss Ida Clare. Thank you for being here and for joining us.
Thank you, Hema. Good morning, everyone. Let me get my presentation started. Hema, can you request that sharing be turned on, please?
You now have permission.
Thank you, Courtney.
Yes.
All righty. Okay, so we have been busy. I think I say that every month here at this presentation. But just an overview of our workload. You can see that 2020 fiscal year 2025, 2026 ended up very high. $13 billion in school construction was processed by DSA in the last fiscal year, a very high year. However, when we look at the number of projects, it was approximately 3.3 thousand. You can see here in the 25-26 column. And so the number of projects has gone down, the costs have gone up. Some of that has to do with brand new campus rebuilding construction, which obviously takes a considerable amount of resources, and also just construction cost escalation. Looking at work on our desks, we received about $944 million in construction in June, which is a very busy month. Summer is typically busy for us, gearing up, and gets increasingly busy as we go through July and August, which you will see in a minute. In June, the busiest office was Los Angeles. And then you can see in July, the busiest office was in Oakland. Our total in July was $732 million with 165 projects. And then, of course, to round out July, because that look was only till today, we still have a few more days left. And you can see in this, in next week, in the last week of July, you will see that there's a considerable amount of work coming in, and also in the remainder of this week. So July, we anticipate will round out to about $1.3 billion in construction. And then, of course, in August, we plan submittals are already exceeding $1 billion. So DSA is busy. All our offices are busy. It does fluctuate a little bit every month, but it seems that Southern California is consistently busiest. We had our new fee reduction became effective July 1st. So costs have come down, or fees have come down due to construction cost escalation. We do need to bring our fees aligned with the work that we do. And so if you recall, we had a fee reduction last year. We have another fee reduction this year. I think last year was about 15%. This year's about 20%. And access fees have also been reduced. Both structural safety and access, fire life safety has not been reduced. A little bit about our rulemaking update. Our commission adoption meetings are coming up August 25th, 26th, 27th. At this time, that is the last opportunity to comment on our proposals for structural safety, sustainability, and accessibility. Just a brief reminder that a lot of our proposals for structural safety and sustainability are not substantive, because we, due to AB 130, which was passed last year, we are prohibited from making substantive changes in the intervening code cycle. It's mostly clarifying changes. I will state that for access, it is substantive, because there is an exception to AB 130 that allows for alignment with federal law. And so there have been some changes in actually, I should say there have been some clarifications in federal law through some recent court cases that require us to bring provisions forth in access. So Cal Green, just so you know, when we're talking about non-substantive, it's just really a restructuring of the code requirements so that they're easier to apply. So basically, for additional clarity, no substantive changes, especially to the embodied carbon provisions. The administrative code, the one item that is new is establishing a unique building identifier. The administrative code provisions are exempt from the limitations of AB 130 because they're not building standards, they are administrative standards. So we do have that unique building identifier coming up. And then, of course, our access rulemaking, as I stated. And so there is, actually, I should have updated this slide. The 15-day public comment period did end June 27th. But here you can access the public comments and the or the proposals so that you can read it, because as I stated, this one is substantive. Because a lot of our regulations in the access code are related to housing and public housing in aligning with federal standards. Just a reminder about student and workforce housing. So if you're doing any kind of workforce housing projects, it's important to understand while they don't have to come to DSA for review, there are some access provisions that are important and they are in our rulemaking. So you might want to check that out before you develop those projects, and also direct your design professionals to that. Also we have accessibility resources, our access compliance manual, that's a free download, our guide to public housing, which is a free training, and other information on our website. I will let you know that after this rulemaking, if it's successful, the guide to public housing and the training will be updated to reflect current approved requirements. That, of course, will be later this fall if the commission adopts our regulations. A little bit about DSA Academy, as you know, please check it out. We always have, especially for design professionals, we always have new fare on there pretty regularly. A little bit about our accelerated reviews for emergency school rebuilding. We've been working with LAUSD. We had 3 projects that were campus rebuilds. One has been entirely approved. That was last week. One is scheduled for approval early August, and so that's on track. And one is scheduled for approval late August, early September. A little bit about our school sustainability updates. We are still in the hiring process for our regional sustainability architect in Oakland. Any of you architects out there interested in working for DSA as a sustainability architect, please check out the advertisement on jobs.ca.gov. These trailblazers, we like to call them. These are new positions. They are really advancing the sustainability discussion and accountability at the project level. And they're really there to work with with schools and with your design professionals to ensuring that CalGreen is applied in your projects. Again, this is not a full review, but it really is answering those questions, having those discussions early on in the project. They are at the table to assist you. Among other things that they will be doing, rulemaking and such, and also bringing back information to the rulemaking team about how CalGreen affects school projects at the project level so that we can better inform our rulemaking process in the future. They are also assisting with review of pre-check designs for CalGreen and energy compliance. We do provide a full review for modular and relocatable buildings. Again, as I stated, the intake process is just for verification that elements of CalGreen are included, not a full plan review. And then, of course, if you are seeking the OPSC Supplemental Energy Efficiency Grant, we will be reviewing those and collaborating with OPSC to determine the level of energy efficiency for the amount that you get for that grant. Sustainable School Showcase, it has not kicked up yet because we're still in the middle of hiring and wrapping up rulemaking, but we do plan to make this return in the last quarter of 2026. So if you have a sustainable project that's been recently built, we'd love to talk to you about it and feature it on our website for all others to learn from it as well. Okay, a little bit about our document updates. We do send out an email about quarterly document updates. DSA 1 AMM 810. I'll talk about it a little bit more later in this presentation, but that is in effect now. So this is the new process, and it's for alternate means for fire service features. Again, I'll touch on that in a bit. Minor changes to the DSA 95, just update regional office email addresses. Our IR 16.1 is updated to the new code. In April, we had the PL 2601, which pairs with the AMM 810. So I'll talk about that in a little bit. And then, of course, PR 803. This has been a minor change for the project tracking number, and just a section has been removed. You can check that out. These are all on our website. And in May, the DSA 1 was updated, which was effective May 1st. The DSA 4, the IRA 14, I talked about this last month, that was also updated. And then, of course, in June, we established the DSA 90, which is a web-based form that replaces the 91, 92, 93, 94. This is for requests for pre-application meetings. Now it's just one form online and not a paper form that you email to the respective regional office. If any of you are CAST, this is an application for subject matter experts, because we have those that develop our training and our exam. And then, of course, IR 11B9 was significantly revised, much clearer, much more simple, much more condensed. So we encourage you to check that out. So a little bit, as I stated, about the AMM 810 and policy 2601. This is effective July 1st, and it does relate to fire life safety and the local fire authority. Essentially, the changes right now, you designed a code, you don't have to get local fire authority approval. Because we are the authority, the local fire authority could be any of these entities. If you do not design the code and you're looking for an alternate means to meet code compliance, you do need to get a local fire authority approval by the respective local fire authority, which could be any one of these 4 entities. Just the key information, as I stated, it really is just getting clarity from the local fire authority that what you're designing as an alternate means is acceptable to them. Often, if you're not making a change to any kind of existing fire access roads and such, but they may not meet current code, you do need to get approval by the local fire authority that they can continue to service your facility. So those are kind of the examples. Any like water supply, any of those elements that are code-based that you are proposing for an alternate means, you do need to get sign off. But if you are designing to code, then you do not. A little bit about our eTracker update. We've talked about this. It was our hope that we could launch in December. It now appears it's going to be right after the first of the year, which is probably better, because if we trained our staff in December, likely they would forget a lot after the first of the year because of vacations and stuff. So it's still on track for launch early in 2027, hopefully within the first, hopefully by the end of January, February. We're really hoping that we can replace our existing system and provide a greater user experience, a better user experience. That will include the assignment of a unique building number. And so that part's important. As I mentioned before, I should have changed that date as well. Again, improved user experience. It integrates certification database as well. It also integrates document storage, and it will assign a unique building number. And that, of course, is the original number that was approved. And then for the campus or the project, like when that building was built, and if there were multiple buildings onto that project, it would be numbered as to the building on, respective on that project. So each building could be identified. This will be helpful to school districts, to DSA, to design professionals in just tracking the project. Hopefully, as this information is integrated into eTracker and built out over several years, that information will become even more and more valuable because it's basically a social security number for a building. And so you'll be able to track project history. Of course, this will take some time to build out because this information needs to be submitted to us as projects are submitted to us, a site plan for the campus, identifying these, and then they'll be documented into eTracker, and then subsequent projects on that campus would just need to add the building number and the ID number for that project. Same with relocatable buildings. Those will also be tracked. Even if they are moved, they will retain their number. And then this is a little bit of the process that I already explained. And what's exciting about phase 2, we're hoping to, that will take, between 2027 and 2028. It will provide external user logins that are unique, workflow dashboards for users, including the owner, architect, inspector. All their active projects will be in one dashboard. And then, of course, form submission, about 20 plus forms, will be integrated into eTracker, so they don't need to be PDF'd and sent to us. So we're really looking forward to phase 2. Of course, phase 1 is kind of replacing our base model with a more user-friendly model and document integration. Phase 2 really starts to bring in all those additional features. So we really appreciate it, and we hope that you have good feedback for us when we eventually launch early in 2027. And then, of course, just important to subscribe to our mailing list. You'll get our document updates as they are issued and any other announcements from DSA. So I am going to end the slideshow, stop share. All righty. And taking questions.
And let's ask our support team in case that you see a question or an issue related to DSA or the information provided.
I don't think I see any in the chat.
Yeah,
I'm not seeing anything in the chat, Emma.
that's
Oh.
well,
Oh, there is one question. Ida, can you clarify if DSA will be creating the unique building number or the design professional has to do it? In the site plan, the design professional will be asked to do it. We will be here to assist. So as you develop it, again, as I stated, for each campus, it only needs to be done with the initial submission of the change on the project. After that, it will be in eTracker, and so you will be able to add it in just with the whatever building you're modernizing or adding to the campus, or and so it may be an initial effort, but eventually it will build out. And so we have staff available to assist you with that as we implement it. Most projects have a site plan that's already provided. It's a matter of providing that information on that original building number, and then we'll be tracking all those projects. That'll be
and then one more, Ida. Can you go through the revisions to the IR 11B?
11B9?
Yeah.
Photovoltaics. So I think that document used to be like 9 pages long, and now I think it's like 3 pages long. We are working in DSA to really try to simplify the guidance that we give and be a little more consistent. In the past, we've tended to kind of consider all these like what if situations, right? Which then tend to bog down the document. So the IR 11B9 really takes into consideration, is it an elevated system or is it a ground mounted system? And so we've clarified some requirements that need to be provided in each of those situations. It really is divided, it's an access document. That's why it's 11B, IR 11B9, but it really addresses path of travel improvements, access underneath the site based on whether it's a ground mounted system or an elevated system. Essentially, the information hasn't significantly changed. It's much clearer. There is one change that's been made, in that shade is no longer considered an amenity. We got some additional clarity from the U.S. Access Board. So while weather protection is, shade is not, because shade moves. And so that has been clarified in that document as well.
Great. Thank you, Ida. And then once the ID was created, can it be revised in the future? So
no, the building will stay with it forever. It will keep its same ID, but the eTracker will track the improvement with the new project number. So when you bring up that building number, it will list all the projects of how that building was affected, but that number remains. And that was the original approval date of that number, but it will track all the others that are associated with it.
Another one on numbering system. DSA is creating the building numbering system that the design professional will utilize when submitting designs, correct?
So the design professional will be responsible for identifying the project when it was originally built. That's the first part of the number. If they will be assigning numbers for the buildings that are existing on the site, one to, in a numerical order, and that will be what's implemented. We don't have a preference on that numerical order, so we're asking that the design professional do it, but then obviously as new buildings are added, that number will be the next consecutive number.
Great. And I think that's it.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Ida.
you. Thank you so much, Greg and Ida. I really appreciate the updates. You've been busy. What can I say? The state of California is busy, and that is because we have such an important, grouping of schools that require, right, all of the things that you do for us. So thank you for being here today and for supporting us on this effort.
Thank you so much. Have a good day, everyone.
Sounds good. So next, we do want to welcome our fearless leaders on the current legislation, regulatory updates, maintenance updates. So please, Rebecca, Nancy, and Ian, join us to talk about what's happening, at the Capitol. And I
Thank
think
you,
that Nancy,
Emma.
you're getting started.
Yes, I'm going to kick it off. Good morning, everyone. Let's start, as we like to do, with what's going on in the legislature. So both houses remain on their summer recess until August 3rd. Upon their return, they'll have 2 weeks to get their remaining bills through the appropriations committees of the second house, and then another 2 weeks to get them past the floor of the second house before the end of session. One bill that we are watching is our sponsored bill this year, AB 2067 Patel. This is our lease-back extension bill. It's in a great place. Prior to the start of the summer recess, it was on the Senate floor awaiting its final vote before being sent to the governor for his signature. So stay tuned to the Cash Weekly for information on how and when to send letters to the governor urging him to sign that bill into law. I would like to pivot into the budget. I will kick it off and then hand it off to my colleagues for some additional detail on facility-specific items. So first, you may have heard there was a budget bill that was passed on June 15th in advance of the constitutional deadline, but unfortunately that was essentially a placeholder. That budget bill really contained the legislature's proposal going into the three-party negotiation with the governor. We finally now do have a signed deal that was agreed to the final weekend of June. So that three-party deal is really comprised of about 20 different bills. So there's the Budget Bill Junior, which is the bulk of the agreement, the high-level part that's contained in, I believe it's SB 111. And then 19 additional trailer bills. Those were sent to the governor and passed by the legislature and sent to the governor and signed between the last days of June and the first days of July before the holiday. Overall, the deal balances California's general fund for the next 2 fiscal years, and it significantly decreases the structural deficit you've been hearing about in the third year. It also delays, softens, and rejects many of the proposed cuts to safety net programs, and it provides, courtesy of Proposition 98, once again, record operational funding to schools. While the governor secured some of his policy priorities, many in fact, the final budget deal generally aligns in most respects with the version that was approved by the legislature on June 15th. Moving specifically to the education side of the budget, AB 126 was the education omnibus trailer bill, and it provided $21,148 per pupil from Prop 98 funding, and total funding per pupil for all sources, $28,207. It also includes an additional $2.2 billion for the local control funding formula, which reflects enrollment declines, universal transitional kindergarten, paid pregnancy disability leave expenses, as well as a 4.31% super COLA for the fiscal year. It also provides $261 million for a 2.87% statutory COLA for all TK-12 programs, excluding preschool. So let's pivot to facilities. Once again, the budget commits to allocating $1.5 billion of Proposition 2 funding in the fiscal year. We welcome and appreciate it, of course, although we had requested an additional $1 billion just to get through the backlog a little bit faster in the coming year. One important program I know many of you are watching is the Kitchen Infrastructure and Training Fund program. This is one that, again, was subject to some uncertainty because the Legislative Analyst Office has actually been recommending to the legislature for the past 2 years that they, at minimum, put a pause on this program. They'd like to see sort of more performance data before additional rounds proceed, but that's not been the approach that the legislature or governor felt was necessary. So that is good news. This time, the language comes with a clarification that family food pantries, culinary curricula, and school gardens are allowable expenditures for this program. I should note that probably most of the press you will read, because all of the summaries of the budget deal say that the budget allocates $500 million to this program. The text of AB 126 actually says 400 million, closer to 400 million. So that can be a couple of things. That can be that they really agreed to 500 million and a subsequent trailer bill is going to make a correction, or it could be some really creative rounding, but just wanted you to know that that's hanging out there in case you're trying to calculate how much you can get in your head. But we have been told that we should expect some more trailer bills to come in the last month of session. So with that, I will pass the baton to my colleague Ian.
Thank you, Nancy. I will continue with the budget update, some other pieces that relate to school facilities. Then I'm going to cover some other issues related to school maintenance. A lot of things going on right now with school maintenance in terms of regulatory actions, implementation, as well as the state budget. So I'll start with that now that Nancy has laid the broad framework. One of the things that Cash did was advocate through this budget process for not only more money for the school facility program, but also the deferred maintenance program. We requested some funding, one-time funding to 420 million for one time for the deferred maintenance program, which we know hasn't been funded in quite a while. Unfortunately, we didn't get that, but we did spark some interest. We got some traction, and as a result of that, I think a lot of you are aware there is $5 billion for the Student Support and Discretionary Block Grant. And the new piece in that is that deferred maintenance has been expressly called out as an eligible use within that fund for districts. So while it's not the restricted funding for maintenance that we would like, or that would be ideal, given where we are, we think we've made a lot of progress on that. So more details will come out about that, but a couple of it, the money will go out per ADA, number one. And they do say, I'm going to quote this in terms of, there's a high level of discretion with this funding. LEAs have a broad discretion on how to divide this funding among their operational needs with minimal reporting requirements. So again, in addition to your overall LCAP funding and so on, this funding, which typically is used for dual enrollment, career pathways, mentorship, professional development, things of that nature, recognizing the need for deferred maintenance, we definitely appreciate and celebrate this inclusion recognition of school maintenance. So again, more details will be coming out about that, I'm sure, but it is good news. For those of you who are Maintenance Network members, I've written a little article that will be coming out in a few days that is a kind of a summary of what we know about this program. But good stuff, basically. So I am going to pivot to another significant school maintenance issue, not only school maintenance, but also broadly, of interest to facilities as well. And that is the effort by the Office of Public School Construction to update the facilities inspection tool. So as you know, that is a result of the state auditor's report that makes a variety of critiques and recommendations of DGS to improve the accuracy of the FIT document. So we've had one meeting so far, but this second meeting that just happened on June 25th, OPSC essentially laid out some of its ideas and recommendations for how this might be accomplished. So if you are in school maintenance, you're probably getting the sense that this could be very significant for the FIT, for inspections, for all of those pieces, and it is, obviously. Cash has created an ad hoc committee with many experts from maintenance and operations, from county offices, from the private sector, real experts on the FIT and this process, both new and folks that helped us 20 years ago when we did it the last time. And we're focusing, coming up with our recommendations and priorities so we can work with OPSC to let them know broadly representing the interests of school maintenance departments and school facilities. So more will be coming out about that, but I will take the time, since OPSC isn't here, to let you know the broad areas where OPSC is looking at updating, changing, adding to the FIT. One is in the deficiency rating category, right? And the news there is they are proposing, considering, offering for you to consider a minor deficiency category, right? That's been discussed a long time, and to recognize things that are more cosmetic in nature versus more substantive or health and safety. So it's a good concept, but there's a lot. The devil is always in the details, so we're looking at that one. They're looking for examples of deficiency ratings and specialized learning environment guidance. So looking for something like that if there's an existing or if it needs to be developed. Another substantive one, they're looking for guidance for scoring individual locations with multiple deficiencies in the same section. Kind of a mouthful, but when you track it down, you kind of see where you end up. Another issue that has been discussed for quite a while. One of the big substantive issues is, and it's just scoring system weighting. Look at the weighting itself, right? And so, of course, that's very substantive, taking a look at it as well. And then the last broad category they're looking at is they're looking for a hazardous material details worksheet. Once again, is there a reference out there? Is there an industry standard? Is there a best practice? Again, looking at all these, should one be developed? Those types of things. So again, this committee is focused on being responsive to OPSC on these issues, as well as more broadly. We would like to see the FIT continue to be a useful document that can be used and executed by practitioners. Clearly, it would benefit from some new references and guidance. A lot has happened in 25 years. We certainly see that, but we look forward to this discussion. I'll end with this on this issue. OPSC really does want to hear from you, school facility practitioners, all you in the comment section, right? A letter was due July 10th, right? We're a little past that, but really they want to hear from you. You can write a letter. You can go directly to their staff. If you do any of those things, certainly let Cash know. We are trying to get our arms around all of the issues and concerns that are out there. We're doing a good job, but we always want to hear from you. So again, this really is the time for engagement. We want the FIT to be improved, to be more accurate, but not something that is becomes more difficult, that is focused overly so on compliance. Again, we want to find that right balance. So I'll end it there, but we have a lot of very capable, experienced people that are giving their best professional expertise in a pretty short amount of time to do this. So, and of course, all throughout the process, we will be sharing this with you as we go forward. But again, OPSC is definitely in a real way looking, if you have some perspectives, experience, concerns, you can go directly to them. So anyway, one more, I'll speed this up. Again, a lot on maintenance. What do we do? You've heard me talk in the past about proposals, proposed legislation to establish some new requirements for the operations of gates of a certain size, essentially big swinging and sliding gates, involving required stops, things that I won't get into them now, but I think many of you get that. There has been some issues and some concern in the legislature about gate safety. The previous set of regulations was in our coalition's view, including schools, problematic. We were successful in essentially stopping that version. There is another version that has just been released, and we're taking a look at that right now. We'll give you more information about that. But again, what this has to do, obviously, what could affect schools in terms of security, in terms of operations, in terms of possibly having to make capital investments in upgrading systems. So we're looking at all of those things: the impacts on planning, the fiscal impact, safety issues, which we're very concerned about, right? Of course. So all of those issues. So it's another kind of one of these issues for school maintenance, but generally, everyone design facilities, put a red pin in that one, and we'll have more information about that. But others are also working at that, and schools are at the table. So I think with that, that is the end of my presentation, and I think I'll turn it over to Rebecca. Kaylee.
Before we go to Rebecca, Ian, and Hema,
yes.
A couple things here on the chat, if I may.
Oh, yeah.
And this pertains to DSA parking lot resurfacing. Does a parking lot resurfacing project 1.5-inch scraping asphalt fill, sealing, and restriping require DSA approval? So I don't know if you know the answer to that. If not, we can get that to DSA. But
yeah, that's more micro than my expertise allows. But I think DSA should definitely. It's a good question. DSA can definitely help them, I think. Or I'm sure. Yeah.
DSA, IDA's no longer on this call, so. Tom Silva, we will get your question to Ida, and hopefully she'll respond to you.
Hi, Tom. Thank you. That's a good question, and yeah, we'll do the relay. Thank
and
you.
Then one more here. Hi, Ian. How can I get on that OPSC list?
I think it's related to the fit, right?
Yes, it's related to the fit. There's no particular.
Who should they contact?
Yeah, here's the best way for everyone, and this is exactly what I do. If you go to the OPSC webpage and you go to meetings, and you find the meetings July 25th, 2026 fit, they'll not only have all the information, and particularly what you're probably looking for is the staff analysis, which does goes much deeper into all the 5 issues that we're working on. So that, and also. Whoever it is, feel free to contact me after this. If you have a hard time, you won't. But also if you have other questions. But yeah, go right to OPSC under meetings.
A lot of questions here this morning, which is good. We love the interaction. Ian, any updates from Cash's perspective on the likelihood of a CalShape extension?
Yes, that's another one. As you know, there is an effort, broad coalition, schools, labor, others, to try to extend the program and get it funded. Yes, that is continuing to go on. Actually, I see right here more more appointments are being made in the legislature to support this. So yes, there is. It's fluid right now. Probably at my next update, I'll give more. But the answer is absolutely. And again, you can contact me directly if you want to, cut this up a little with more detail, and I'll be glad to share what I know with you.
All right, thanks, Ian. I'm going to Hema, turning it back over to you so we can.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ian.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Ian. Rebecca, I think at this moment in time, we are able to well, no, let me ask. Rebecca, do you have an update or can we move to the next item?
You know what, Hema, if I could just give one very quick update,
Yes,
and this is
please.
related to local bonds on the June ballot. I know everyone has been eagerly awaiting the results of that election and are thinking about what might be happening in November. So I just wanted to let folks know that members of CASH can access the list of the bonds that were on the ballot in June, which passed, which failed, on the CASH website in our members only section. So when you log in, go to your profile in the top right, and then you'll see a bunch of menus that pop up and open up, and you can find the list of local bond results there. Let us know, our team know if you need help finding it. And then just want to give a quick comment, Hema. We saw not the highest percentage of passage on those bonds in June. So we had a 62% passage rate, but wanted to just encourage folks that the primary is not indicative of what may happen in a general election. You've got different voting populations. A lot can happen between June and November. So just sort of stay the course on the research and the analysis that your district is doing. And I know that decisions are coming up quickly for November, that August 7th is the date to call an election, to put a bond on the ballot in November. So we'll have a better sense after that of which districts are deciding to move forward in November. So with that, Hema, I'll hand it back over to you, and have a great day.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Lots of activity, right, on the legislative world. So thank you for that. And just for all of our participants, if you have something to say, particularly about the facilities inspection tool, do connect with us. Ian placed his contact information. You could email us, let us know what you're thinking, what is either a concern, a question, an idea. OPSC is very open to receiving our feedback. So the more that we have your opinion, your feedback, I think as a group, the better representation we could do, of our interests. So please let us know. And with that, we will move to the next item, because we, do want to hear from Nancy, specifically related to the School Energy Coalition, and she's here to give us an update.
Thank you, Hema. I'm back for one quick item we wanted to flag for those of you who may be affected. We are tracking San Diego Gas and Electric's Golden Pacific PowerLink project. This is a proposed 500 kilovolt electricity transmission corridor adjacent to one and maybe two existing schools so far. It runs from Imperial through San Diego, Riverside, and ultimately to Orange County. The project is currently in the community outreach phase before anticipated submission of application this fall. So really could be as soon as a couple of months. So application to the PUC. I encourage folks in those counties to take a look at the map, even though it's not very detailed. And if you're interested in any more information on the project, that's available on the project website, goldenpacificpowerlink.com. If you believe you have any school sites that are affected, please reach out. We're still trying to determine if there's a role for CASH or SEC, but at a minimum, we'd love for those affected to be able to share information and strategize together. So that's all I have.
Look at that. She's super fast. Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.
We appreciate, our legislative team always keeping their finger on the pulse of all of the activity throughout the state. So thank you for that. So that brings me to talk a little bit about the 48th Annual Conference on School Facilities, and that's coming up in Sacramento. The moment that I say 48, that just helps me think about the impact of cash in the longevity of the cash organization, and that's all of us. So what do I have to say about this today is that we are planning the conference. It is underway. We thank every single person that submitted workshop topics for consideration. As you know, we have various strands that work on selection, and the strand co-chairs will be meeting later this afternoon, specifically to review and finalize the workshop selections. So we are excited to see the variety of topics that were submitted, and we're looking forward seeing the selections. We do want to ask you to please mark your calendars for the conference that's coming up. That will be taking place in February, so we're a few months away, just enough for us to put a little bit of money aside to be able to attend the conference, to do our travel arrangements, to do all of that stuff, all of the logistics that need to happen. But the dates of our conference, specifically on February 23rd through the 25th of 2027, and we are coming back to the Safe Credit Union Convention Center in Sacramento. So we are keeping our finger on the pulse also about our professional development, our networking, and specifically our annual conference. And with that, we'll go to our next topic, which is the job exchange and people's choice. And in this particular section, we do want to open it up to our participants that may have a job that is coming up that would like to share with us. And feel free to place it on the chat. We'd be happy to announce it to everyone. And then also just to ensure that all of our cash members know that it is a service that we provide as part of the cash organization, part of our membership, and that is to advertise your openings coming up, whether it's a job listing or a request for qualifications, a request for proposal. In what we do ask is that you give us sufficient time to be able to do our posting and to be able to put it out there. So if you have a particular topic that or a particular job that you would want us to post or that you want to share today, please let us know. We want to continue to nurture and continue to advertise the openings that are located throughout the state. So I don't see anything in the chat, and I do want to say a big thank you to all of our speakers. I want to say thank you to John Gorton, Ida Claire. I thank the entire legislative team with Rebecca, Nancy, and Ian, and particularly for our cash leadership to Tom Pace and Brooke, who were not able to make it today, but that prepare every single month so that we have a meeting that has content, that has focus, that has representation of all of the activities that happen throughout the state. And to our cash support team, Greg and Courtney and the team that is behind the scenes, I want to say thank you for keeping us organized, keeping us focused. And last but not least, I do want to say, please mark your calendar, because our next meeting will also be in Zoom, and that will be next month. Exactly a month from now on Wednesday, August the 26th. And it'll be at the same time as today, 9 a.m. to just about 10:15. And for today, we were able to stay on time, and I do want to say that we thank you for that. We appreciate all of the information, all the work that you do, and we'll see you here next month. So have a wonderful Wednesday, and have a good day.